Gunshots, screams, teachers and students barricaded behind doors and furniture. Another school shooting has just occurred. This scene plays out all too often in our society. Today I will speak to you about whether we should allow concealed weapons on grade school and college campuses. Do guns and schools go together? There is much controversy around the subject, but I believe that teachers and staff members at a school should be allowed to carry concealed weapons. Schools across the United States are either already allowing guns on their campuses or considering the possibilities. I will endeavor to argue that the safety of our children is in danger unless we are proactive in combating these tragedies with new gun control laws. First, I want to give you a little background on school shootings in the past. School shootings date all the way back to the 1700s. The first school shooting was on July 26, 1764. 3 Native Americans entered a schoolhouse near Greencastle, Pennsylvania. The schoolmaster, Enoch Brown, was killed, along with 9 students. Since that date, there have been a huge number of school shootings at elementary, middle schools, high schools, and universities. According to History.com, a student went on a rampage at Virginia Tech. He shot 32 students and teachers in 2007. History.com also gives information concerning the worst high school shooting in U.S. history at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado in 1999. CNN reports another shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut, where 26 people were shot and killed in 2012. A school shooting has also occurred at a local elementary school where I attended, Mascot Elementary. The shooting occurred October 4, 1988. A little 3rd grade girl was shot in the arm while playing on the playground by an unknown person who was never found. The school was flooded with concerned parents and media. My grandmother worked in the office at that time, and she has related to me the utter disbelief that a child was carried to the office with a gunshot wound. The little girl had surgery on her arm and completely recovered. Following these shootings, everyone agreed that something must be done, but no one knew exactly what should be done. According to the Law Center on Gun Violence, guns have no place in our nation's schools. They maintain the tragedies that took place at Sandy Hook Elementary School, Columbine High School, and Virginia Tech demonstrate the devastating effects guns have on schools. They say more guns cause more violence. There are those that feel differently about guns on school grounds, though. Dan Friedman of The Trace wrote that the new Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, has signaled her support for reversing the 27-year-old federal law that bars firearms from public elementary schools and secondary schools. Mr. Friedman writes that the Republican legislatures are already taking steps to make way for allowing the nation's classrooms to have firearms. An article in the Huffington Post states that the country has 18 states that already allows adults to carry a loaded gun on school grounds, provided that they have permission from the principal and the school board. In an article with the Huffington Post, Meredith Bennett Smith, she says that Oregon State Representative Dennis Richardson sent emails advocating that teachers should be allowed to have guns on their campuses. He further wrote that if that had been the case at Sandy Hook Elementary, some children might have been saved. John Lott, a noted gun expert and an author of More Guns, Less Crime, states that allowing law-abiding citizens to carry concealed handguns saves lives. An attorney and professor of advanced constitutional law at Denver University, David Capel, believes that carrying weapons on school grounds could save lives. He cited several examples that were not widely publicized where lives had been saved because individual citizens had concealed handguns. He believes that allowing citizens to carry concealed weapons will save lives, but there must be strict requirements for obtaining a handgun permit. In an interview with former policeman M. Payne, he states that he believes that concealed weapons should be allowed on school grounds, but there must be strict and designated regulations. As we can see from this chart, a survey conducted by AmmoLand.com, a leading shooting sports news service, shows that over 70% responded that concealed gun permit holders should be allowed to carry guns in schools. According to an article written by Robert Birnbaum in the magazine of Higher Learning, the question of whether handguns should be permitted on college campuses reflects the tension and vigorous debate. There is much debate on who is right and who is wrong. Let's take a closer look at the three tragedies mentioned: Virginia Tech, Columbine High School, and Sandy Hook Elementary, and let's see if we can determine if it would have made a difference if some of those campuses had had a gun. The Virginia Tech shooting occurred April 16, 2007. One shooter shot 2 people in a dormitory and then entered a building with classrooms. He moved from one classroom to another, shooting victims. If any of the teachers in these classrooms had had a weapon, they could have possibly stopped the shooter, saving some lives. As it were, they had no defense to these senseless shootings. The Columbine High School shooting happened April 20th, 1999. There were 2 shooters who first took aim at students outside the school. The shooters then moved inside and shot 12 students and 1 teacher. Again, if some of those teachers had been armed, they might have been able to save some lives. The Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting happened on December 14, 2012. One shooter entered the school by using an assault weapon to literally shoot an entrance to the building. The vice principal and 2 other women came out of the offices to see what had happened. 2 of them were killed. The shooter then proceeded to the kindergarten and first grade classrooms, shooting students and teachers. There would have been ample time for teachers and staff members that had been armed to stop the shooter, saving lives. In all of the above tragedies, a difference could have been made if teachers had been allowed to carry handguns on campus. No one knows for sure if having guns could save lives in the previous tragedies, but there would have at least been an effort. There is much debate on the gun issue, whether we should have tougher laws, whether we should allow people to carry concealed weapons or openly handguns. Just looking at these 3 tragedies discussed leaves me with a very strong opinion that teachers with guns could have made a difference in those situations. Do we want to go back to the Western days where everyone has a holster on their sides? Of course not. But we need to look closely at the best way to make our children feel safe when they go to school. We must stop the vision of children running from schools in such terror. I leave you with this picture. I vote for teachers allowed to have handguns. Are you with me?